and welcome to another episode of Voices of IWA. This is a podcast where we are focused on amplifying the voice of women who are living throughout the African diaspora, who have made a choice to practice our African lifestyle, especially through the incorporation of our African traditions and our ancestral traditions. On this first season of Voices of IWA, this is actually our 8th episode, and we are discussing the role of women and our role in traditions and our role in society. So today we're going to be focusing on the role of one of the leadership roles in our tradition, and that's the role of Iyalode. If you are familiar with our Egbe are our ancestral, our heavenly mates, right? Our heavenly mates that live in heaven. And those mates were broken down into different classes, right? So there's multiple classes of our Egbe. However, Iyalode, she is the leader of the Egbe. And so I'm sitting, I'm chatting with, these are not only my Egbe mates, right? Heavenly Egbe mates, but they're also my earthly Egbe mates because we actually do a lot of work together in the community through Egbe Obatala Atlanta and just at each other's shrines whenever, whenever we want to be. And so today we're going to be discussing the role of Iyalode. So we open up usually, I didn't introduce myself. I think this is the second time I've done that today. My name is Omisaro. I am a priest of Oshun, a priest of Egbe, a priest of Olokun, Obatala, and I've been initiated for 13 years, and I'm also the founder of IWA Lifestyle. So on Voices of IWA, we start out with the narrative on how you got into the traditions. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Like I was telling y'all early, brag on yourself. Let the people know who you are. And also tell us a little bit about how you got into the traditions. What's that story for you?
Sure.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. So my grandmother is a centennial. She was 100 years old when she passed, and she was beautifully poignant in being a genealogist in my family.
Okay.
I knew all about my family and my roots growing up, and grew up in an African community also. So I really wanted to know more about who I was. I was always seeking beyond Christianity, always seeking beyond who I am. So I came to Atlanta in 93 and started to do that search. And in that, I came across Baba, Kyle Aman, and Iyanifa and Diana Gray. They did some work for me, and I became initiated to Obatala first. And then that started the work that I began to do. So I was really firmly rooted in the works that my grandmother did in Dallas. So we have a huge foundation in Dallas. We were some of the first Black doctors, some of the first of everything in Dallas. And so my grandmother's a genealogist. She showed me who I was from Senegal to Africa, and I wanted to know more about it. So I knew that I had to do the work by becoming a priest.
Okay. Tell them your name.
I am Iyalode, Orisabukola,
Yes.
Osunkemi, and I have many names. We'll stop there. And most people know me by Bahati. Yeah, by Bahati.
Welcome, Iya.
Thank you.
Oh, that was lovely. I'm Iyalode Omisaro. I have always been a seeker of knowledge of all kinds, and particularly spirituality and Africanness. When I was about maybe like 13 or 14, I just kind of asked the question of like, what is it that I feel resonates with me? I was brought up Christian, so I said, okay, this is what we're supposed to be. What does that mean? And by exploring that kind of, I went through a couple different traditions. We were Nuwapic for a little bit.
Okay.
We were Nation of Islam Muslim. We were Salafi Muslim. Lots of things. Yes, lots of things. Before I moved to Atlanta, and I think it was 2011. And I've always studied African American studies. I have my undergrad is in African American studies at Howard. HU. And my my master's is in Africana women's studies from Clark Atlanta. And that's what brought me to Atlanta. So I have lots and lots of like, who are we? Where have we been? What have we been up to? And all of that really informed kind of like what I enjoy and what I'm about. But it was my medium things that really brought me to this tradition, because I was just absent and having some experiences. And my friend was like, I'm going to take you to go see somebody. So pretty much learning about Ifa helped to give the context and a framework for me to learn more, but really I was just trying to be present in my body and be safe and understand these gifts that I have and what to do with them.
Yeah. Which, okay, let's just go right on to my next question then. Like, what made you decide to get initiated to Egbe? What was the reasoning behind that? I've heard all kind of things, but like usually it's like, well, let me let you answer the question.
Well, it's two things.
No, you can go ahead.
So I've been a leader of many Egbes without being initiated to Egbe.
And y'all, Egbe just means group. I realize we have listeners that they're still new to the traditions also.
Yes. So for 20 odd years was leading multiple Egbe groups. Some are officially called Egbes and some are not. In Zinga and Ndugu, it's not an Egbe, but it's a community group, right? So leading multiple groups and then getting the readings and understanding that Egbe kept coming up and every single one it would come up. And more I would study about Egbe and understanding, it might be good to elevate in this process so that I can have some more support spiritually. Yeah. Because I have the support physically, but spiritually it might be wise to just go ahead and do the work beyond the physical, because I was doing a lot of community service, community work. If you all are not familiar with Nzinga and Ndugu, that's a rites of passage based out of Atlanta under Dr. Black. So I've been with them for 30 odd years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And because it's been like 14 more years now that I've been here. Okay, yeah. Okay,
Egbe Obatala, Atlanta, Egbe Oshun. So that is what happened. So I formally got read by my Baba, Baba Ifashola Onifade, and it definitely confirmed it. So that's what I did. I just did the work. And I feel so much lighter. I felt heavy. Like, this is a lot. I feel like I'm carrying this by myself. I'm not anymore.
Oh, nice. Mine is not like that.
Yeah, you were talking about trying to stay in your body, and I was like, okay, like there's some things there.
I really was kind of like running from it. Most of my initiations, I'd be kind of running from. I'm not the one that's like, let's go do it. I'm like, yeah, they'll let me know when it's time.
Right.
I'm going to be over here. So, unfortunately, me doing that kind of put my existence in danger. So, for me, it was to still be here living this life in this realm. And so, I initiated Egbe for that. And so I say, like, after Egbe, like, this is my second life. Because I may not have been here still if I hadn't. So more so out of that. And then everything else around it, just the initiation just confirmed a lot of who I am. Same thing. I was also always a leader in pretty much everything I've ever done. The church, school, whatever, always some type of leadership position. Even when I try not to be like Egbe Obatala. And so understanding that being Iyalode kind of helped me to just relax into it. Yeah. And not just overthink it too much. Like, it's just what it's supposed to be. So like, it's okay, that was mostly.
Yeah. It's I had no idea what was going on, right? So I had, prior to getting initiated, I had this very intense, this very, very, very intense possession. And I remember we were doing spiritual work together, and I just remember having all of these. It lasted more than like almost 24 hours. And I had never experienced anything like that. And I talked to Iyalode, and she was like, "Oh, that's some egg-based stuff, girl." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I don't know. And I don't really know what that means, right? Like, I'm not very clear on what that means." So when I got initiated to Oshun, every time they threw Mary Logun, Odi fell.
Okay.
Right. And again, I'm fairly new, right? I think I got initiated when I was about 3 or 4 years into practicing the tradition. So again, I really didn't have any concept of what Egbe was, not a firm concept at least. And so I was getting initiated to Oshun. Every time we threw Mary Lagoon or D fell, and somewhere in there, my godmother at the time was like, "Stop. We need to stop this. Hold on. I need to ask some questions." And what they did was they started my Egbe initiation in the middle of my Oshun initiation, because they were like, they need to go together. You're going to feed Egbe and Oshun together all the time. You're Iyalode. And I was like, what does that mean? Right? There wasn't enough. I don't know what any of that means. Okay. I was like, okay, sounds good. And then, but through more, I guess, through more time, through more study, through more understanding, really coming to really, I think what you said, like, just relax into it, because I think I fought leadership, and I still fight leadership. I don't like the idea of it. I tell people all the time, like, I got initiated for me. It's awesome that other people get something out of it. But I really did, I did this for me. And I find that Iyalode's energy it's very communal. Right. And that she has a need to, to do more in the community and to lead more in the community. And that is, we'll talk about that in a second. Sure. That's been a struggle. Sure.
Understood.
What does it mean? Like, so what have you all, what has it meant to be Iyalode to you all? What has that role meant to you?
I think for me, it has been my own certificate. I have always been the youngest one in the group, and that is one of the things that's been difficult for me in like accepting leadership. That's why I said I had to relax into it, because the idea of always making people uncomfortable because I'm young but supposed to be in leadership or whatever was kind of like making me feel like, okay, am I like grabbing something that's not for me? And so to be Iyalode was like, no, you see this? I got this thing. It says that's who I am. Like, see, I'm just being myself, know? It became like that for me. So I could just say, yes, this I know. And I'm, and I'm okay with that. And I can take my time and learn how to navigate this and all of that, being young, and we have all of our protocols, if you will, and stuff like that. And that's like, I'm okay with that, but for other people it may put them off, so that's how it really helped me.
Sounds good. Wow. Kind of similar, but not so much. Mine is more about my why. It's like, what am I here for? It kind of goes in alignment with my purpose, which is as a healer, I'm here to heal folks and to bring unity to the community. So Iyalode does these things. She helps to bring hearts and minds together. She helps to wash away the woes, dismantle negativity. She does all of these things. And I'm finding that's what I do. And so she's my why. She's like, you're here to care for, even if you don't get a thanks, that's why you're here though. It's beyond, it's bigger than you. Here to help them heal their hearts, hear their oris. We've been to the Grove. We've seen Iyalode. So she's got all of her hands stretched out, she's here to support everybody. That's my why.
Ooh, okay. So let's talk about that. And I get it and I understand. So what's coming to mind is shadows, I guess, of leadership a little bit, you know, because I think what I believe is I think that people see leaders and the people in front, and they're like, yeah, they're leading, but we're people too, right?
Yes.
We have children and husbands and houses and
100%.
mortgages, and you know, we still have to work, and you know, like all of the things that everybody does, and yet still we are. Right. This is a part of what we do. You know, what's been some of the challenges with leadership, especially leadership in our community? Cheryl's looking like, you really want to do this shit today? Yes. That's what this is what we want to do.
You need that moment. Should. Iyalode, we have to be humble, you know. We humble ourselves to the point to take responsibility, right? We take responsibility to even for the things that we didn't do. We try to flush things out so that everyone can have peace and we can continue with our goal in mind. That's true. That's what I think. So that might look like, you know, sucking up some things that, hey, it's okay. We're going to just go ahead and take responsibility for this and this and this and all these 10 million things so that we can just have peace, so we can do this ritual, we can move on. People. And then we're gonna argue. We're gonna come together, us, and we're gonna have a moment.
And
but
work it out amongst ourselves.
For the peace, we'll take responsibility, and we know sometimes we do that.
I'm just going to tell our business for a second because we're in Egbel Batala together, right? There's 2 leadership council members that are missing, right? Iyai Beji, who was actually on the podcast earlier, and then we have one man who stands with us, right. Baba Igbin, like right? He stands with us. I appreciate his energy so. And you know, the 4 women on the council are all Iyalode, and as you just said that, you know, you were like, you know, we're here to bring harmony and things, and I laugh all the time when there's something that's going on, and it's almost like there's two of us that are kind of like, you know, we're in this direction, and there's another 2 are like, y'all are crazy. We know y'all want to go save the world, but like, I'm looking for justice in this situation. So I'm just laughing because y'all are on opposite ends of that. Although it's really beautiful. So I'm interested in what Cheryl has to say, because she might be like, yeah, no.
No, I think
that's different.
Yes. I think that what Iya said is absolutely like the goal. Yeah. Right. Even when I'm problem solving, troubleshooting, whatever, it's always my intention to think about what's the desired outcome. Right. And the desired outcome is that we're able to, you know, provide a certain type of experience for the event, or that we're able to find a solution that makes sense, right, going forward, no matter how we feel, or, you know, so yes, I think that that's true. As far as some of the things that are challenging, I know for me, I don't always feel like the men are in accord with our suggestions and what we see as beneficial for the community. I think sometimes there's we want the same thing in the end, but there's like a reluctance to just kind of push through those hard conversations. Hard accountability, hard acknowledgments, whether it's of themselves or of others, right? To come to some type of agreement or path forward that actually feels good to everyone participating. And I think that for us, that's something that's missing, because in that, there's a lot of little things. Like I said, I could list a lot of things in the shadow, but a lot of it comes from that. That if we can't, both leaders, male and female, if we can't come together in our, like, how do we achieve this? When I hear everyone talk, it always sounds like we really do want the same thing, right? One, preservation of our traditions, prosperity and wealth and stability in our community, right? And opportunities for each person to follow their destiny, right? To be able to fulfill that. But the how is always kind of where it gets a little like muddled in there. And I think that discord, if you will, those are the things that lead to like where people don't feel honored and respected, where people feel overlooked or neglected or not tended to, because we all have a different way of trying to get there, right? And that doesn't matter, you know, the gender part doesn't matter in the people, but I think it matters in us showing them that balance of it so that they can understand how to work together with it, because you still have to take that masculine, feminine in yourself and work it out. And usually you see in the community what is happening in you, right? So
we're using this broad term of community, which always is interesting, right? Because it goes back to like, what is our definition of community and exactly who are we talking about? But I'm wondering if you all feel like we, and in this moment, I'm speaking about the community in Atlanta that we belong to. Do you feel like we have even had that level of conversation with each other outside of maybe like our families, right? With each other around what it is we want and the forward movement of our community together?
So I don't think that there's been gathering with that focus in mind. I definitely think that different elders, different leaders, even in some of the just broader community folks have expressed a need for certain things or things that they see as helpful. But I don't think that we've actually gathered with that purpose in mind. And I think that's why we don't see like a, you know, some steps or something, or even, you know, one of the things for me has been observing everyone after initiation, right? And so watching people go and get initiated, and then it's like you spend all this time, like let's say with these 20 to 30 people, plus or minus whoever, right? As far as like your Iyalode or teaching space or whatever your home space was pre-initiation. And then you get initiated and it's like people just go, okay, bye. You know, and it's like, well, wait, come back. Like, help.
That should be some building on something. Yeah.
You know, like,
that's a good point.
And so that's some of the community thing that if we could, I guess, have a consensus, then it's like, well, what do they come back to do?
Right.
Or to give or to, you know, share or, you know, because it's not just in your own Iyalode, but like if someone comes over to your Iyalode from my Iyalode to just attend an event, right?
Yes.
How can we be helpful to each other in those spaces where we do come together in the broader community?
Absolutely.
Like when we go to a Oshogbo, you pretty much know we starting at 9.
Yeah.
Everybody who's supposed to be there at 9 is there at 9, you know?
Right.
But we don't have that kind of sense of assistance, I guess, or that would gel us more here.
Okay. I agree. So I totally agree. We do. We need to come together. You know, that's my thing. Unity. And just get on one accord with what it is that we all can agree to do when we get together. How can we support one another? Truly. Without the razzle dazzle and the protocols. But how can we support one another?
Razzle dazzle. What are so what does that look like, y'all? I mean, I'm and again, forget my questions. I wrote them, but they're trash now. We're going someplace else. What does that look like practically, right? As leaders, we are Iyalode. We understand that. We know also that we hold certain leadership positions within this specific community. What does that look like, or what could a possible path forward to our unity, right, to bringing us together, what could that possibly look like for us?
Right. I think that we should bring the leaders together and have a conversation, which is what Atlanta Isheshe Committee is doing.
Okay.
Coming up really soon. Wanting to bring all the leaders together so we can have these conversations and flesh them out.
Okay.
How can we move forward in 2025 to be better community? How can we work together to support our children, to support the leaders? You know, you mentioned when we get initiated that you feel like, I don't know, I felt like you're saying you just kind of get you fall to the wayside. What does the wilderness look like for somebody who just gets initiated? How do we support them?
Yes, because I think that with all the things that have happened, right, a lot of times the students, the people who we are saying we're in care of, they kind of get like, you know, just jostled around and whatever, you know. I think we've all been here long enough to see like different splits of, you know, elays, gatherings, whatever, right? People, and then the students are kind of left like, okay, but wait, because I was good with everybody that was here, and so now I have to pick someone, you know, and then like, you know, so there's like that, and then when you get initiated, and like for me, I'm initiated to Yemoja, and probably the only Yemoja priest you'll see around, like publicly. Right, even though others exist, and so it's like, so then how do I? Even this past year, I was like, well, how do I ask for help or across spaces? You know, like what does that look like? So let's say that I'm not, you know, Iyalode, I'm not a head of a Elay or anything, right? I'm just one of the students, or I don't know, what are we calling our Elay people? Our family members? I don't know.
Make it up as we go.
Right. Thank you. Right, but specifically underneath the
specific
right,
Elay
that we care for, right? So if I see that my own Elay doesn't have the studied, learned
infrastructure, almost.
Well, no, I'm just talking about just learning as a Yemoja initiate. If I see that my own Elay doesn't have another Yemoja priest that I can study with,
where do I go? Right.
Is it okay that I go over to another place and ask somebody? Like, is that okay? And what does that look like? And can we do this without people's feelings? You know,
egos.
You know, and like, and if I have a misstep in my process, are you gonna like chew me down, or am I going to be able to like, you know, like self-correct, right? Like once you bring it to me like, oh, what you would do is this, like, can we just have a conversation about that? Or does it have to be like tearing people down? You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. Listen,
they get fumbled in that.
I'm about to say something. I'm going to qualify it because I'm not suggesting that all of our answers can be found on the continent, because I feel like we have some special things that are going on in the diaspora that we should pay attention to.
For sure.
Right? So we're not mirrors of each other.
Exactly.
And there could be a starting point, right? So when we're in Oshogbo, and I see this all the time. I see people that are a part of Ogbeyonu come over to Osaroso
that's what I mean.
Zero issue or problem. Then go over to your godfather, Baba Onifade's, and everybody is working this for the festival, working for and this is my elder, this is, you know, this is your godfather, is my godfather. It is all family, right? It's all good. It's definitely not, I can't believe you went over there to help.
Right.
I don't know where did that even come from, and how do we put it in the trash? Because it's not helping nor serving anybody. So to answer your question, if you just got initiated to, I don't know, you got initiated to Oya, right? And there's not another Oya priest, right? It shouldn't be rocket science to be able to call the Oya priest in our community and be like, can I come study with you? Can I come sit with you? Can I learn from you? Right? I think that should be a given.
I think so,
right?
too.
But we don't have that. I do think it's a level of infrastructure, right? In place where people can feel that comfort. Because there's I don't know if it's ego. I don't know what it is. Power and control.
I think there's two things that happens there. I think that one, in our changing broader just Black people community, there's a change in how people honor and respect others that is lacking. And I think that's the first step, right? Because the attitude from what I see is like, oh, I ain't like it, so I left.
Okay.
And they don't care. You know, it's a cutoff kind of thing, right? So when you come into the tradition, that doesn't always fall off, right? And so I think that showing people, like modeling, showing, reinforcing, like how we respect each other, which, you know, that has to go through everybody.
Yes.
And that's like one of the main things I think is what deteriorates that ability to like go somewhere else and ask, because one, the respect of the person who needs it, right? How are they honoring their own family, their own space, their own Ile, right? And then also those who have the position like to be sought out, right? Then like having the better attitude of like, okay, because like even when people come and ask me for a service, I go, who's your people? Like who? They know you here talking to me? You know, like just double check, because that could turn into, you know, lots of things later. But like having that kind of reverence for each other as well, right? Sure. And not the second thing is not this like, I'm here to correct everybody because you're doing it wrong. Like somewhere in this like Isheshe, Lukumi, so whatever thing, it's like we've gotten into this like, this is the right way. And if I see you doing, more, you know, trash. Well, don't go over there because they don't know what they're doing. Like it's like we have to like draw that back, you know, so that we can really know each other in a different way and respect each other's work in a certain way too.
That was Obatila's message for us this year,
sure was.
Right? That we needed to know each other better. Such a deep message that you can go on forever.
Yeah,
never.
Yes,
sure was.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to your answer. It's communication too, and I think we all need to come together. Yes, first your nucleus, and then broader. We need to have these larger conversations. Maybe a large community conversation.
I think that would definitely be helpful.
I agree.
I'm also, you know, I like to tackle things on different levels. So even like it's 3 of us talking today, but maybe another time it's 6 of us talking. And then, you know, and I think even in Egbe Obatala, I think we said something about supporting each other and the rest of the community, other Iles in their festivals and things like that, that's right? True. And so I think even as we do that, like I think I've seen this with you guys, especially at like the Egbe Festival, right? Like when I came in, it wasn't even like, where do I go? You were like, okay, and here you go, and this is what you do. And it felt very like everybody understood, you know, where to be, you know? And I think that can just grow, right? Especially as we see others, you know, unfortunately, like I said, I'm kind of speaking for things that people have shared with me about just feeling like on the fringes of things because they don't know what's okay. Okay. You know? And so I think that as we are doing our events or festivals or gatherings, that we keep in mind, like maybe you have to reach out and like grab someone and say, you should be here. You know, come and see this, you know.
That's I can get that. I can get that because I think
people need to feel welcome.
Yes, they do, and not like they're excluded from the table.
Because some people are doing
or that they're being disrespectful by thinking that they should be there and then feeling away when they don't get treated in a welcome kind of way. You know,
that's wrong.
Like I guess I don't know. Maybe I have. It's harder for me to understand that. Maybe I don't. Maybe I haven't not experienced that, or I'm also good for dismissing things when it doesn't feel good and choosing not to, like, I'm not going to pay attention to that. But what I can say, like, let's say for Egbe Festival in specific, even with the decision, like, first of all, once again, I didn't want to do it. I was like, there's enough Egbe priests out here. Somebody should be doing Egbe Festival. It ain't got to be me.
Right.
You know, and again, in my shrine, and dreams were like, no, sorry.
It's you.
Right, it's you. And I was like, I would rather not. And then what was interesting is how it all came together. I tell people, like, one of the things that I think is important is for you to build a relationship with your shrine to the point where you know what you know for you, right? And you operate in tandem with that, right? Yes. And so with that, my thought process was, okay, well, if there's enough of us, there's plenty of us that are initiated to Egbe. We haven't done a community Egbe festival. I almost feel like there are plenty of times where I just want, like, just take the whole eating leke thing away from it, right? It is what I would like to do, right? So that it could feel more communal and it doesn't have to be like, it's Omishegun's, you know, Egbe Festival. Right. If we all have Egbe, then it should be everybody Egbe Festival, right? At this particular time, which is why I said, okay, well, bring your Egg bay.
You know,
and
I
bring
think
your
that
egg bay.
was-
And bring your egg bay. And now it's just everybody's.
When I got there, I was like, oh man, you should have just been more involved. Like literally, I was like, shoot, because I had that mind frame of like, it is Omi's Ile's festival.
Mm-hmm.
I'll come help or whatever, but I didn't even consider like the communal part of it until I got there and was helping. I was like, oh,
I got 7 egg bays up here. Let's just do it.
Like, wow, that's
Yeah.
okay, yes,
Mm-hmm.
because that absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
You know,
First of all, doing a festival is costly.
and it's a lot.
By itself. You could put a pause in there, and that's enough of a reason for us to pool our resources together.
Sure.
That's enough of a reason.
Yes.
Right? But to your point, there is this, it has felt like just this burden of proof sometimes, right? Where you just have to like, where it feels like people are, like you said, there's like a fear or something, right? I don't think that we experience that because we work together and we have relationships with each other.
Right.
So, you know, and even in that, you said you still came in and was like, oh, wait, this would have been completely fine, right? You know, but I think because, you know, several of us did it the year before, right? And I see it continuing to grow, and I'm hoping that it does continue to grow, and that it can get to a space and place where it doesn't necessarily have to be linked to a Ile, or even better, like then we join together, right? So if it's all of our Iles that come together to do this for our community, because to me it's like an Atlanta community,
It is.
but we don't have that. Again, I say like when we
That's
say
what I was
Atlanta
gonna
community, what are we referring to?
Right. I was going to
We're
say
working
that
on it.
in the sense of like, you know, even in Nigeria, there's, you know, the festival here,
Yeah,
Shugbo,
absolutely.
festival, Oyo, like, so even just as a city, we don't have like a collective something, you know, that we're doing, because I think what you said is important about, you know, we do have some different things that are present here, you know, in the U.S. for us to kind of navigate, and and now in the diaspora, because we have festivals in other places too.
Yeah.
So, you know, there are some nuances there that I think that it's important for us to begin to think further. You know, one of the things I was happy we came in after Yeye Olosun, because and Tinubu, because the thing about the village is that everything was so intentional with longevity in mind.
Yeah.
And I feel like we haven't really got that part for Atlanta in general. Like, this is cool for the next 5 years, but what about 30 years? You know, what about 60 years? Like, what kinds of things can we put in place that we don't have to have this conversation again 10 years from now, you know, that people can start to see. And that speaks to the infrastructure part, right? Of this is where you go, or like if you had like a registered thing, or a temple, a main temple space, or something that people understood they were contributing to understand, yes, this is a collective festival. Right. So when you contribute, this is what it's going to. And, you know, so we can see that.
Well, you're speaking it into existence, so I can see what's happening right here.
Tell us about Isheshe Festival. Then you were saying that there are some things that were in the works, right? What are some of those things? And then the broader question is like, what are some of the projects that you all are working on that kind of bring in some of this energy we're talking about?
Absolutely. So we're still having Atlanta Isheshe Festival. We had to postpone it due to the passing of our dearly beloved Oba the second. So we're going to move it to this August, 2025. The first thing that needs to happen, though, is a collective conversation that I spoke of, which might look like a town hall meeting.
Yeah.
So that we can get everyone's buy-in and input. All of the temple leaders, all of the leaders that would be interested in joining us. So we'll be putting out some information about that really soon. And then we'll proceed after that. Okay. So August 2025.
Okay. Nice.
Looking forward to it.
And then, well, tell us a little bit, just in case people don't know what Isheshe Festival is. Like what?
For
what is that?
sure. So we haven't had one yet here in Atlanta. So this will be our first. Isheshe Festival is where you have, you're celebrating heritage, you're celebrating culture of Onisheshe, people who hold dear to their heritage with Ifa, with Yoruba, with Egbe, Egongon, all of the Orisha. So you have all of the Iles come together, which is the whole notion of the unity, bringing them together to celebrate the Orisha, celebrate Egbe, Egongon, and just to cherish in the festivities of it all. So to showcase, if you will, all the Orisha. It's partially, in my mind, a way that we can unify our community because we haven't had this. The very thing you spoke about is what I envision Isheshe Festival will be. It's not my festival. It's not Iyalode's festival. It's not Omisaro's festival. It is everyone's festival. So we need to all pour into it. Resources, supports, work. Yeah. And then the joy will come from all of that.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of being at Isheshe Festival one of them years in Oshogbo, and it was really just like what a magnificent celebration of our culture, right? Like there was a parade, and like you had the different Egbes that were celebrating, the in their full regalia, right? They're doing oriki, they're dancing. You had the Egbe, you had the Oshun Egbe, you had the Obatala Egbe, and it was just really, really beautiful. So I it's exciting. When you all talked about doing it last year, that was the first thing I thought. I was like, oh, this has to help unify our community, right? I was like, because the whole community would have to participate for this to work,
for sure,
right? So I think that this is a really beautiful thing, and really, really am very supportive of it.
Ashe, thank you. You make it happen.
Ashe, my sister Omisaro, you have all kinds of things happening in the leadership world.
So, well, first I will share that I am working on a leadership book that I hope will help everyone to understand alternative ways of leadership, and for women in particular, to help them to be able to embrace leadership in their own unique individual selves, not trying to mimic what we've been told leadership is, or what we've seen in men. So that's one
exciting.
Thing.
Very exciting.
Yes, it's exciting, and like so that is one thing that is happening now. In January I am starting the first cohort of mentorship for mediums.
Okay.
And I'm very excited about that because I think that this is another group of people that kind of gets jumbled around, because for me, it seems like one of those things in the U.S. that is slightly different when people possess or have certain types of gifts. We don't respond like it's normal. And so, people feel like they need to stay away, or like they need to, find something else, or like it doesn't belong here. And so I'm looking forward to what comes from this, and just helping the women who signed up, just helping them to live, like really live their lives and embrace what they came to this earth with, because we need all of those things, and that they see it as benefit, not all burden.
Yeah.
And so that's really one of the main things right now, because for me, that's where I don't shy away from leadership. I kind of shy away from being like the person to help. But that's always the questions that I'm asked about. That's usually what people want to know or seek help with. So I'm very excited about that. these are not projects that I'm working on. They're just ongoing parts of my life that
Yeah.
I'll just share. So of course, Ye's Botanica is still here and still standing with brick and mortar shop. And really, I just want to remind our community and those who are seeking whatever on their spiritual development to remember that there's an economic piece to supporting community as well. And it's easy to say, to be disgruntled about other communities that support each other.
Yeah.
But we are here and we could use your support as well. And the shares and the, invite people to shop in the store, shop online. We have lots of things going on now with jewelry, with clothes. And in our Iyalode, just really being a hub for people who are just looking to get some type of foundation in this tradition, whether they stay with our Iyalode or not, but that it is a place where you can ask some questions, you can take some classes, you can, meet some people. And if you come to events, you'll meet lots of people, and you can find those that resonate with you, if you're looking for a spiritual home. And so I just want to share that as well, because it's more than just like come buy our stuff, but like when we talk about longevity, right? Like remember that we have like actual buildings designed for this tradition to embrace it. We have shrines there that you can bring your offerings to appease. We have and it's open to the community for that. So I want to share that as well.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. So as we're winding down, I wonder if you all have any advice for women that are trying to connect with their egg babe. When we did the pilot, right after the pilot, we did a feedback form. And one of the main topics that kept coming up, like one of the big themes within the feedback form was egg bae, and people feeling like they don't really know how to connect to their egg bae, and they don't have an outlet. Like they know it's important, they know they have an egg bae, but they would love to hear us talk more about it. So this is really the first specific time on the show that we're talking about it, but we're going to make space to do that continuously since it was a theme. So
this is like my favorite thing.
I can tell, and mine too.
I really enjoy.
We're over here bubbling over.
I really enjoy sharing. I always said I didn't grow up with a big sister in my house.
Me either.
I had cousins who kind of stepped in as big sisters, but. I always said that, there's so many things that happen to me that I'm like, if someone had just had a conversation
some point
beforehand. So I love to share those things that will help make others' path easier, or more accessible. So with that, well, one of the things is probably the hardest thing is that you really have to learn to sit by yourself and hear you, because egg bae is not something you're going to go somewhere and get. Like it's there with you. And so if you aren't even listening to yourself, yes, you're having a hard time connecting with egg bae because it's you. So, you have to be able to sit with that. And if you can't do that, then I suggest looking at how you treat your friends and how you treat those around you and how they treat you. And if you think about developing strong relationships with people, I think that is an opening for you to figure out more about your egg bae.
Because I think that's really good, because I think we dismiss where there's this focus on egg bae orun, right, our heavenly mates, with this dismissal or this complete forgetfulness that egg bae Aye exists, and that's a whole thing as well. So so being able, that's really good, I think, Omisaro, to really consider the relationships that you have here on earth and how you connect with people.
Absolutely.
That's real good. I like that. You might have others. I'm sorry.
That's
I just wanted to affirm how dope that was.
Like the patterns you have. Am I sisters with leaders? Am I sisters with, kind of ladies are they? Or men? Who do I flock to? Who do I attract? How do I feel comfortable?
Like your quirks and things like that,
Right.
because so many of mine were confirmed with Egg Bay. There were so many that I was like, oh.
Sitting with yourself is good. Is good. Finding a really solid Alegbe priest is also good that you can sit with, just to get some of those first answers, like why is this happening, and paying attention to your dreams is also paramount.
Yes.
That will come up quite frequently, visions and your dreams. So you don't feel like you're crazy. You should know to, write them down, and then, speak to an Elegbe priest that can support you, so you don't feel by yourself and things of that nature. Be consistent with the work. So you mentioned sitting with yourself. So even if you don't have Egbe Shrine, everyone has Egbe. No need to go feel like I have to go get initiated here and there, this, that, the third. Just make offerings to your Egbe. It doesn't require a lot. It can be very small you can find out where to make it.
Yeah.
Tree, river, water, forest.
Big trash
heap. Yeah. Find out where. But do it frequently, and then the answers will come. The messages will come to you.
I was going to add to that, to take care of yourself. Right? So sometimes we have inklings to do things like, I feel like I should be at the beach. I really, really want to go to the beach. I can't take that trip. I can't do that right now. And then it comes back and you're like, I need to be at the beach. And it's like, there's something for you at the beach. Like, listen to it and figure out a way to follow through with the thing. It might be, a particular dress. It might be, you don't care for this color anymore. It might be a food that is bothering, whatever it is, but like, hear those things. And also, like the patterns, like you're still mapping your own patterns, because you may find out later that your Ekbe doesn't care for those things either. And that's why they don't want you to have it, or that they like something a lot and are encouraging you to come more,
That's true.
That's true. For me, Iyalode is the river and the ocean together. And so when I was younger, I was always at the river. And now I'm always at the ocean. So, and then I'll either or, just give me near some water. And that is sitting with yourself too, right? Like going to those natural places.
Yeah. Okay. So, thank you all for sharing your advice, Iyalodes. I read something. It was in Yemisi Eleboibon's Egbe book. She has two. Okay. Oloye Osundamisi. She also has a Egbe book.
This book is excellent.
Good books.
Very good book.
Good books.
Yes.
Yeah. Ifayemi Eleboibon Ati Erelu's book.
Yes,
very good.
Osundamisi. Right.
Yes.
Both really good books.
Very good.
So in that Egbe Orun book, she talks about Iyalode, and at the time, this might have been 3 or 4 years ago, I don't know. People would say, if you ask somebody how, like, describe Omishegun, and people would say, she's selfless. That shit was pissing me off. I mean, if I heard another person say that I was selfless, I mean, I would get like visceral and be like, I have a self. Like, I am not,
Right.
And then I read the book, and literally I'm getting my toes done, and I'm reading, here's this word. And it says, Iyalode is selfless. And I started crying. And I was like, God damn it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, I dealt with that in therapy. Around what that was. Right. But I want to just tell you both, right, that I appreciate your leadership. I know we work a lot together. We're all different leaders, right? And we give a lot. And Shara, I really appreciate you always ensuring that we also give to ourselves. Like, you are a strong advocate for, like, don't give your whole life away. Don't give your whole self away, make sure that there's a balance. So I just wanted to appreciate you both for that. And really any of the leaders, any of us, as Black women we're already giving at a high level. And in this community with this extra, you talked about the weight,
Yeah.
right? You talked about the weight. You know, I was thinking last year, this last Egbe Festival, I was looking at a picture of Iyalode carrying the calabash. And then I started looking at processions of Iyalode carrying the calabash. And I started realizing that this woman is carrying everybody's hopes, prayers, dreams, aspirations, the fears, you know, everything that the traumas that they have prayed into these offerings, into this calabash, and she is carrying it to the river, to the forest, or to wherever the hell it goes, right? And that is not that's not an easy task. You know, so we've been charged with that, and I'm in good company. So I really appreciate you all for, you know, the work that we're doing. So the way we end at Voices of EY is we pray for the people.
Yes,
we pray for the people. So whichever of you would like to pray for our audience, whatever is on your heart.
You know, peace and love, whisper sweet nothings to us.
Well, no. I will begin. Base Oludumare, Base Oriapuede, Base Gungumi, Base Gungunwa, Base Bobo Risha, to Ile Bobo Egbe. Issue for opening the way for the day. We just give thanks to each and every one of you who are listening or watching. We ask that any negativity be washed away. May the water deities wash away all negativity and bring in all positivity. We are taping this at the end of the year, so we're asking that anything that you need to release be released, and that bring in all positivity to you as you come through into 2025 with hearts open to all of your aspirations, your gifts, the things that we pray for. Might it be open to the prayers that you have. Might you have the Ori in your shoulders can hold the things that you're praying for. Might it all manifest for you. Might we all be covered, safe, and protected everywhere we go.
Ashe. I want to thank you all for joining us this episode of Voices of Iwa. We will be here every Wednesday. Look out for more information on our live event that will be coming up on March 29th. Please like, comment, and share. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We appreciate you for being here. Have a great evening. Odabo.